Hello everyone and welcome to my February monthly reset. Super excited to film this for you today. It's been a minute since I did a reset. I think September in the fall was the last time that I did, but January and February are really big months for me for my finances. I've shared with you guys in the past that I always like to get my taxes done in February, so I have everything ready for that, which just lends itself well to all of the stuff that I want to share with you today on some of the updates that I did to my budget, my spreadsheets, that I want to show you that on my Google Drive, and then some other goals that I have for 2025. So I have 4 big goals that I want to achieve in 2025, and they're in different areas of my life, and I will share those with you in just a moment. But one thing I wanted to share with you right off the bat, because I really feel like this could help someone, and a lot of people could relate, was something that I was feeling and how I changed my mindset around that on some reflection that I was doing in the previous year. So even though it's the end of January right now, I still was looking back on 2024 and I was looking at some of the goals that I wanted to achieve. And I started to feel some negative emotions, which are normal, and it's just data for us to maybe learn a little bit, but I started to feel disappointed. And it isn't something that I feel a lot or frequently, but when I was looking at 2024 and how it unfolded, 2024 ended up, you guys, being the year that I would have thought 2023 was going to be, but it wasn't. And I don't want to get too personal here, even though I share everything with you guys. I'll be a little bit vulnerable, but I really tackled some grief in 2024. Again, I would have thought I would have done that in 2023. And if you don't know why, there's plenty of videos that kind of share the losses that I have experienced. But I wanted to share this with you because there was something that I was reminded of that really helped me reframe some things, get set up to go throughout the rest of 2025 the way that I want to. And you guys know that I am a positive psychology practitioner. I am Mayo Clinic certified. I'm also a board certified health coach. And one of the things that I share with my clients when we're helping them, especially around mindset, is where does happiness come from in our life? And so I wanted to share this with you guys right off the bat. If you're experiencing some disappointment, even just at the end of January, that maybe you had some big goals already in the beginning of the year and you feel like you've fallen off them, or you've been like me where there are some circumstances that were completely out of your control that maybe impacted your career or your finances or your relationships or something like that, because that's where I have found myself are circumstances that I experienced and the things that I'm in now because of what I experienced in the previous decade that I had absolutely no control over. But here's what I want to share with you where I feel it's important and where I can help kind of maybe shift your mindset on some of this. So positive psychology, we know, is the science of well-being, right? And the science of happiness. So I want you guys to know that what makes up someone being happy, a large percent of that would be just our disposition and genetics. There are some people that are just kind of wired to be happier than others, and that's estimated to be about 50%. 40% is intentional actions that we take, which only leaves 10% of our happiness coming from our circumstances. So that 40% is really big on the intentional actions that we may be taking to achieve any goals, or just kind of what you do with the circumstances that you find yourself facing right now. And for me, that really helped me shift, and I don't ignore negative feelings. That's data, that's information, that's something that I want to work through as well. But I wanted to share that with you, that if 2025, or you were looking back in 2024, or any area of your life, there was some negative emotions around that, and you're a little bit afraid, or there's some scarcity, or there's a disappointment or fear, whatever you might be experiencing, especially if it's something you feel is beyond your control, I want you to know that only 10% of that make up what makes us happy. And I don't want to just dwell on that, is I want to make sure that I am taking the actions that I'm absolutely capable of doing, and all the planning that I've done for 2025. I want to share with you a ton of resources today, especially around my finances. I have a new spreadsheet I'm excited to share with you on my Google Drive, but also how I map out some of these bigger goals for my home and for my health, and I'm wondering if it could help you guys as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, there's 4 big goals that I have in 2025, and I have them in my health, in my home, in my career, and my finances. So I'm going to share 3 out of the 4 with you here today. My career I'll just keep private. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that anyway, because I'm self-employed, so my journey is very different than I think a lot of people watching this video. But the first one that I have is I want to declutter my entire home. Now, you guys know that I did have a declutter goal last year in 2024, but last year unfolded a little differently than I thought it might. And it wasn't bad. I definitely made some progress in decluttering, but I'm going to create a specific video for you on my journey on decluttering, because remember last month when I shared with you all of my 2025 planner lineups, I shared with you this specific one from Marie Kondo, where she partnered with a day designer. And then I also showed you the book, which I know everybody knows. This was out for a while. But you guys, I've also been using Marie's other book, Spark Joy. So I mapped out basically my whole year. And now let me show you that too, because this is super basic, I know, but I just want to show you just in case it's helpful. And I will put this down below if someone wants to download it, if they kind of like that idea as well. All I did, you guys, is I went and I created 4 different quarters, basically, to represent the year. So I have my Q1, Q2, 3, and 4, 3 months in each, where I just wanted to kind of map out and look ahead of me for my declutter goal. For example, what I did is I look at what would I want to do in January? What would February look like in March? And what seasons might be easier for me to tackle the garage? Or one of the big goals that I have with my decluttering is to sell some stuff that might be valuable that I just don't need. Those will be easier maybe for me in the summertime. Maybe there's a garage sale I can have, or just easier to get out and about to make my donations or go to the dump if there's some stuff I want to discard altogether. So things like that. I basically just took this paper that I did and I created 4 of them, so 1 for each goal, my decluttering my goal, and I mapped out for January, for example. I started in my kitchen. I'm super excited and very motivated. Again, I'm using both of the books from Marie Kondo, and I'm mapping out how and when I actually do things in the planner. But I will share with you, for example, in this video here, if you have a goal to declutter too, where Marie was talking about not only certain rooms and zones and categories in your home, but what I found really useful in the Spark Joy one for me in the kitchen is I mapped out different zones in my kitchen, what I would tackle each day, and then I used the planner to dedicate time to do that. And I just sailed through some things that I thought would be really hard, like my junk drawer, like silverware was super easy, utensils, my baking or pots and pans, and even the stuff like above, like my cabinets. I have one of those where you have space between the cabinet and the ceiling. But ones that got me really stuck was my dishware, which I wasn't anticipating that. I wouldn't think I was emotionally attached to my dishes, my plates and my bowls and things like that. And in the Spark Joy book, she has specific categories in kitchens like that, and reading through that kind of helped me tackle it and break through my roadblock. So one of my big goals, decluttering my entire home in 2025, I'm going to create dedicated videos because I do think that's a bigger topic. Now my second goal has to do with my health, and I'm approaching this goal this year a little differently than I have in the past. And my goal for 2025 for my health is I want to have my energy back. I am absolutely confident that a lot of you can relate, but I just don't have the energy that I used to, and I just don't know if it's just simply aging, and I absolutely blame everything on menopause always. I'm sure that has something to do with it. When I go back and look at analytics, I know a lot of you that watch these videos of mine, you are a lot younger than I am, probably half my age to be honest, so that might be a ways off from you. But I just can say that even when I have solid sleep, and I feel like I'm eating right and things like, everything I'm doing right, I still don't feel like I have any energy to do things. And I've ruled out a bunch of stuff, done some blood work with my doctor, and really kind of figuring out what might be going on. So what I'm doing for this goal in 2025, where I want to have more energy, what I did is exactly the same, where I took this that I created and I looked at the different months that I might want to tackle different pillars of wellness that might give me more energy or help me kind of get back to the way I used to be. So I do believe that nutrition is important, of course, right? And I know that sleep is important, and how you manage stress is important, and just how you manage your energy, not only your time, but your energy. But what I'm going to start with, so January, my month there was just really planning. I had a couple appointments. February, I do have an appointment with a specialist next month because I've had some back issues, chronic now, for a couple of years. I know you guys are familiar with that. In fact, I did a pretty extensive program last year about this time, and I did every single PT exercise I was supposed to. I was really faithful to doing that. I really wanted to feel better. My back has just been kind of really slowing me down in a lot of ways, and it's just hurting all the time. And I made really great strength gains. And I'm telling you, like, I was absolutely committed to those PT exercises. In my whole house, I had different areas where I could do all of them at home as well, and the online videos. And when they put you in these machines, They can measure range of motion, they can measure strength, or you do isometric holds and they see how long you can hold them, all these different things. And I made enormous improvements in all of them, but I never once stopped hurting. My back is always in pain, and again, I don't know, menopause, I just blame it on everything because this doesn't make any sense. There's no injuries or things like that. But I do know that it is something that I feel is kind of limiting and restricting me for exercise and moving the way that I am used to, because I absolutely know, and you guys know as well, that exercising plays a role in your overall energy and happiness and stress relief and all of these amazing things, disease, that it can help us with. So it is something that I really want to take very seriously and get the right resources that I might need. So February is my month to really do that. So the specialist that I see next week, but also I want to figure out things that I can do that aren't going to harm me. So I don't want to be dumb and go all out on something, but that is my focus for February. And then what I did, you guys, is I looked at March, and that's when I'll tackle sleep. And then April, I'll tackle my nutrition, because I feel really good about my nutrition. That one's easier for me. And stress management, all these different things throughout the year, I kind of mapped out what I can do, what are the pillars of wellness, or what are the areas in my life that I can help manage my energy better so that overall I have more energy. So that's my health and wellness goal for 2025. Okay, now my finances. So I'm super excited about my finances. I'm one of those people who's kind of a geek that always goes super granular in what I spend my money on and track a bunch of different things. And I wanted to share a new spreadsheet that I created. So I have shared with you my budget in the past, the spreadsheet in numbers on my map that I used in the past. So I created something new in Google Docs that I'm going to share my screen and show you. So I just didn't know if it might be helpful to see how someone else manages their finances and the money that I have coming in versus the money that I have going out. Because I'm just kind of excited about this. A couple different things that I thought would lend itself well to me tracking a little better. So let me go ahead and share my screen and show you this. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is a Google Doc that I created. And what I have, super basic, and here is just my income coming in from my business. And the declutter one that you see here, I do have a goal to maybe sell some of the stuff that is of value when I'm decluttering that I just don't want to use anymore. And then I have another category that might come up. So being self-employed, I will have something that maybe I'm projecting. So in the beginning of the month, you guys, what I do is I always plan. So I always look to see what income might I have coming in. And then over here, this column is my expenses, which I'll go through in just a moment. But I also plan. So at the beginning of the month, I come here on the spreadsheet and I will see my cash flow basically that I'm going to need, what is going to come in that month. And at the end of the month, I actually go back and track and see, okay, what did come in from my business and what did I spend on all of these here. So if we look at my expenses, because this is stuff that I think might be pretty helpful. So what I do here, so I go in and I plan, say, at the beginning of the month, my mortgage, I actually do have a variable, so this will change, not a lot, but sometimes if the prime rate is cut, this will help me out here. So let's say, these aren't my real numbers, but I'll just put in, let's say I have a $1,500 mortgage. And what you'll see is I have formulas here that whatever I place in these will total these up at the bottom of these columns. The one thing I want to show you that I am doing a little bit differently than the last spreadsheet that I showed you in my last budget is this. So I was really trying to get specific on where am I spending my money on things that are absolutely essential versus some things that are just kind of fun. Now, here's the deal. I'm not a spender. I'm not someone who's big on a lot of shopping, although books are my downfall. I do like a lot of books or things like that, but I don't go out shopping very much, and I'm not a big spender, which you'll see here. So what I did is I categorized all of my expenses into what I would call essentials. So all of these things here I absolutely will need. But then I also created a personal section, which I'll cover here, and then also all of my business expenses that I have. So as I mentioned, I always will go in the beginning and I'll plan at the beginning of every month. So I just have my regular mortgage payment. I have a loan that I took out to do some improvements to my home. So that comes out every month. I do make a deposit every month in my retirement account because, again, I'm self-employed, so I do that myself. And this will differ some months too. If I made a little bit more that month, I might be able to do more. Now, I'm someone that my property taxes and my house insurance, I pay myself. That's not automatically wrapped into my mortgage. So what I do, you guys, over here, if you see this column, DOC for me, what I created that, it stands for date of charge or date of purchase. So for me, I have some things that automatically come out of my checking account. So that's the 15th here that you'll see. Or I'm someone who does put a bunch of things on my credit card and then pay it off at the end of every month. So the date of the charge, for example, my garbage or my internet, my electricity, I just put that here just so I know. But my house insurance, my auto insurance, my property taxes, certain things that I don't pay every single month, in this column here, I created this just so I would always know when they were coming up and never be surprised. So basically in October and May, what I do is I divide up basically my property taxes into 12, and then every month I put that aside into a savings account, and I have covered that in some other videos with you guys. And my disability insurance, I pay that myself. Again, I'm self-employed, and I do that quarterly, so I have the months that that's due. I have my health insurance that I pay. Rosa is my cat. You did hear that right, because in my last monthly reset, remember I told you I wanted to get a cat? I'm going to share Rosa in a different video, but I do have Rosa's insurance. And my DMV tabs, my gas and water, electricity, internet, garbage, cell phone, the pet food. Both my dog and my cat are on prescription food and prescriptions. So I have that, some online storage, veterinary bills. I try to buffer some stuff here too. I don't always have vet bills every month, but I try to put a little bit away in savings each month for that. I do get their nails trimmed. I have a wonderful woman who owns her own business. She comes to my house and helps me with that. My groceries, gas, the home maintenance, car maintenance. These are things I like to tuck away a little bit of money in my savings for that. I pay my own health insurance, so I have copays. This is probably typical for you guys too, even if you're not self-employed, and prescription, and then my vision. So one thing I wanted to show you here, what I really wanted to do with my groceries is I was realizing that when I go to the grocery store, there might be stuff I buy for my pets. There would be maybe cleaning supplies or tissue paper, whatever it is that have nothing to do with actual groceries or food. And I wanted to get more granular this year. So what I did is over here, this is just an example from last month, but I went to the grocery store, and out of the $158 that I spent, only 92 of it was actually on food. This was cleaning supplies, so the $27 under essentials was cleaning supplies, and I believe I bought some like tissue, facial tissue, and toilet paper, things like that. And then Panda got some fun stuff there. And Rosa, if I were to buy anything for him, it is a him, even though it's a girl, another story. And then sometimes I have my groceries delivered, so I put a category for tip. But for me, I have a budget for groceries, and I was realizing that a decent chunk sometimes of my weekly budget for groceries is not spent on groceries. So this is just a way for me to see where my money is actually going. Now, if I go back to my spreadsheet here and scroll down, I don't have a ton of personal stuff. Streaming, I did cut out 2, but I still have I have 3 even of those. So my streaming services. So again, what you would do here, guys, let's say $45 a month you pay for streaming. I do get my hair done. I get my hair highlighted and cut. And so I have my dates here. It's pretty much every other month or so. And so I will budget for that. AA, this is Animal Allies, where I have adopted some of my furry family members. They have a donation, a monthly program for our love bug, and that's what that is. So I donate to that every month. Now this category I have is miscellaneous. Well, let me show you how I do this. So sorry I'm kind of jumping all over, but I just thought it might be fun to show you how I'm figuring this stuff out. So these are things that I regularly do every month or every other month, you know, the Animal Allies, getting my hair done, streaming. But what I'll do, here's a few examples from last month. I just come down here and I track individual purchases that I made. So for example, in January, I have a fitness app on my phone that I use they have different fitness challenges and things like that. I've had them for years. So that came in January. I bought some air filters for my home, and I have that charge here. With Rose and my cat, I am learning how they get into every single closet, and I have a bunch of bifold doors. So I bought these door locks, which are brilliant if anybody has a cat and has bifold doors and you're trying to keep him out of it, because he got in his food and I learned really quickly. They are not like dogs. I have such a big learning curve ahead of me still. But anyway, I have these different charges here. And so what I do is at the end of the month, then I will just total these up, and whatever is miscellaneous for personal, or there might be some from my business, which here you see I have my business expenses. So what I pay for my accountant. Now you guys, what you'll notice here under my business is a lot of these things I pay for once a year. So for my accountant, I pretty much just pay him when he does my taxes in April. I have my insurance every year that comes due in October. What you see here is being certified by Mayo Clinic and keeping that certification as well as being board certified, I have to keep up on education requirements. And so they're not cheap. So I like to budget for those. So I have my continuing education and my certification. So when I have those due, I'm tracking that here too. Some of my web hosting, some video storage, web design software that I use. I use a lot of different software. Mailbox that I have dedicated to my business. I have project management software, CRM, and then obviously miscellaneous, maybe office supplies or things that I might have bought that I would categorize down here. So all of these I would just put in, I don't know, say it's $7.50 or 40. I can't really read without my glasses, whatever I typed in there. And this would just total these all up at the bottom. So I just put formulas in each of these to add things up. So this is pretty basic, but I've been really liking this. And what I can do then is I just come down here and I will be able to duplicate this and it would just create another sheet for me for the rest of the year. So this is my new spreadsheet that I've been really enjoying. So I don't know if that was helpful or just interesting to see how someone else tracks their money, but my goals that I have for February regarding finances, I want to get my taxes done. As I mentioned, I always knock those out right away. And my retirement planning, I really want to look into that more. So my retirement definitely took a hit when I was my father's primary caregiver for 5 years. So a lot of the time when I was working, but not necessarily generating income when I was helping him, it really hit my retirement pretty hard. So I'm trying to really look at some resources for that. And then what was the last one I have? My new spreadsheet that I shared with you. And then books. I have a million books, I swear, on finance books. But I was trying to find a new one maybe to read. If you have any recommendations, let me know down in the comments on any finance books that you would recommend. Because I just want to read up a little more. I feel like I'm in my money era and I just want to be surrounded by that. So that is my February monthly reset. I hope that there was something helpful that you found here, just fun sharing the different things, how I'm setting up my 2025. I wish you guys all the best and rooting for you in every single goal that you have. I certainly have a ton of other videos on my channel. If you have health and wellness goals, I have a ton of other like plan with me resources, productivity, things like that that might help you be able to dedicate time to achieve those goals as well. So thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.